Hi, welcome back to Math 111. Today in this video I'm going to talk for just a little bit with you about the distance formula. The distance formula allows us to calculate the straight line distance between any 2 points in space. So if I've got 2 points, say this one and this one, what I'm talking about calculating is the length of that red line segment that connects them. So how do we do that? Well, let's think about what we've got going on here. Let's label this guy x1, y1. So this is just any arbitrary point in space, and this guy is x2, y2. Now let's think about this. If I can only travel vertically and horizontally, then I can get from the first point to the second point by traveling along those dotted lines. That's handy because what I've got now is a right triangle. And I remember that the length of the hypotenuse squared on a right triangle is equal to the sums of the squares of the other two legs. Or the length of the hypotenuse is the square root of that sum. So now if I can just figure out the length of those two legs, I have my distance. So let's think about how far I went when I traveled along this short leg here, when I traveled here. I started at x1 and I moved to x2. So that distance is x2 minus x1. And then when I moved vertically, I started at y1 and moved to y2. So this distance is y2 minus y1. So the distance formula tells me that the distance between any 2 points is equal to the square root of the difference of their x-coordinates squared plus the difference of their y-coordinates squared. This is the distance formula. So let's put it into action. Let's suppose I want to find all of the points with an x-coordinate of 1 that are 4 units from the point 3, 2. Okay, so let's think about what we're doing. We've got a point 3, 2, which is right here on my Cartesian coordinate plane. And what I want to do is find the points that are 4 units from that point that lie on this vertical line. In other words, if I draw a line from here to here that is 4 units long, I'm trying to find the coordinates of that point. Now, I also know that there's another point up here that is 4 units away, along as the crow flies, so to speak. So how am I going to set this up? Well, I know some things about those 2 points. I know that this point has got an x-coordinate of 1, and we'll just call him a y2. And this lower point also has an x-coordinate of 1, and I'll call him a y1. Okay, so let's start this way. Let's write the distance formula. Because I know that my distance should be 4. But I also know that my distance is equal to the square root of the difference in my x-coordinates, so 3 minus 1 squared, plus the difference in my y coordinates. And we'll just call that 2 minus y. And you'll see in a minute that we're going to find both of my y's at once, almost at once. And I know that that distance is 4. So what I know is that 4 equals the square root of 3 minus 1 is 2 squared is 4. Plus, and I'm going to leave this as 2 minus y squared. To undo a square root, we remember that we square both sides of the equation. So I've got 16 equals 4 plus 2 minus y squared. Subtract the 4. 12 equals 2 minus y squared. Now, we need to get rid of that squared, so we're going to square root both sides, and we're going to remember to take the positive and negative square root of 12, and that's going to equal 2 minus y. If we do a little bit of work here, we can get to y equals 2 plus or minus square root 12, which simplifies to 2 square root 3. And those are my 2 y coordinates. So what I've got is a point, one point, that is at the coordinates 1, 2 minus 2 square root 3, and another point at the coordinates 1, 2 plus 2 square root 3. And we're going to leave these in exact form, so we're going to leave the answer just like this, okay? All right, so that's a brief explanation of the distance formula. It should hopefully be a reminder of the distance formula. This distance formula is one that you want to put in your memory bank. You want to put this someplace that you can find it, because we're going to come back to it again and again in both this class and the next. All right, thanks. I'll talk to you again soon.